So the biggest AI news of this week by far was this band, the Velvet Sundown, going absolutely viral on Spotify. And well, it's an AI generated band. I mean, all of the songs are AI generated. The images of the band are AI generated. Everything you can find about this seems to be AI generated. They're actually getting a fairly decent social media following, but nothing compared to what they're seeing on Spotify.
Oh my God!
So in this video, I know normally I do a news video this week, but I want to do a little change of pace and actually break down exactly how this band managed to accomplish what they did. And I want this to be sort of this cautionary tale. I want to show you how they did it, mostly because I want you to be able to spot this type of stuff. If you don't want to listen to AI music and you want to be able to spot AI music and AI generated bands better, knowing how this was made can help you do that. This video also might serve as a bit of a wake-up call for some people who may be unknowingly listening to AI music right now, and they were never the wiser about it. To start, let's talk about how they most likely generated the songs themselves that they're using. They most likely used Suno.com to generate the music. Now, this is a platform that has both free and paid plans and makes it really easy for anybody to create music that actually sounds like it was generated by a real band. So let's go ahead and sign in here, and we'll make sure we're on the newest model. This is version 4.5 here. And then if we switch to custom up here at the top, we have all sorts of settings to really dial in the music however we want. We even have this feature called a persona, where once you find a style of music that you really like and you want all of your future music to sound like that, you create a persona out of it, and then you can use that persona for all of your songs, and it'll create a sort of consistent feel across the music. So to start, let's just generate one song, and you can do it in two ways with the lyrics. You can either write your own lyrics, or you can have AI actually write the lyrics for you, and you just tell it what kind of song you want to see. So I grew up in the 90s, early 2000s. I was always a big fan of pop punk and Blink-182 and that kind of music. So let's create a band in that sort of style. Now, you can't actually name a band. I can't say generate a song in the style of Blink-182. It won't let you do that. So you just have to describe it as close as you can. And one of the easy ways to do that is go to a place like ChatGPT and say, how would you describe Blink-182's music in a sentence without using the band name or any other band's names? See what it gives us back. And we get fast, catchy, emotionally charged punk with teenage angst, humor, and hooks that make you want to jump, scream, and cry all at once. Sure, let's go ahead and use that description here. I'll copy this, jump back over to Suno, and in our style description, I will put that as the style. And then for the lyrics, we'll do a song about teenage romance gone wrong. I feel like a lot of Blink-182 is about that kind of thing.
Because tonight will be the night that I will fall for you.
Under advanced options, you can exclude styles, change things like weirdness and style influence. Let's just go ahead and leave those at their default. And I can even leave the song title empty here, and it will name the song for us. So let's just go ahead and create that and see what kind of song it generates for us. All right, so after maybe 20 seconds or so, it generated two different songs, both named Fading Fire. They're both gonna have the same lyrics, but be slightly different styles, so you can kind of decide which one you like best. So let's go ahead and play the first one here. All right, so that's example number one. Here's example number two.
We were sparks in a midnight haze.
So I think I like example number two a little bit better, a little bit closer to what I was looking for. And since I like that style and I want all of my future songs to be kind of in that style, I could click on these three dots here, come up to create, and we've got the option to make a persona. If I click make a persona, we can give it a name. I'll just call it consistent pop punk. We could give it an avatar and stuff. I'm not gonna make it public. And I know what it is, so I don't really need to add extra details. If you wanted to make this persona public so other people can use it, you could fill in the rest of the details if you want, but let's just save it like this. Also, if I wanna publish this song, I could come back to these three dots, click download, and we have the option for MP3 audio and wave audio. I'll grab the wave audio because it's gonna be slightly higher quality, and you want to upload the highest quality if you're uploading to a place like Spotify. All right, but now I want to make more songs because it doesn't make sense to just put one song up on Spotify. You want to create like whole albums like this Velvet Sundown band we were looking at. So I'll click on create again, and we can see it actually already automatically put in my new persona, but let's say it didn't. I just click on this persona button up here and select my consistent pop punk that we just created. Make sure we leave our style description as the same, and then we just change the song lyrics to a song about how growing up is hard. We could pretty much leave everything else the same, click create, and it should create 2 more songs that sound like pretty much the same band. And a few seconds later, we have our 2 new songs called Growing Pains. Here's example number 1.
Woke up to a world that feels so wide. Dreams in my pocket, but nowhere to hide.
And then here's the other example.
Woke up to a world that feels so wide.
And if we go back and listen to that original one, it should sound like a very similar style and vocalist.
We were sparks in a
Pretty good,
midnight.
pretty good. I mean, it's got a very similar sound to the music. Nobody would question that this was the same band. So now we have a couple songs. We've got Fading Fire, we've got Growing Pains, and you could just keep on building out your song catalog just like this. And this is most likely what the Velvet Sundown did with their songs here. But there's still a little bit more to this whole band here, because if we look at their Spotify page, they actually have a band image here, and they created an Instagram with all sorts of images of the band with consistent characters. Now, to me, all of these images look like they were made with ChatGPT's 4.0 model. I feel like ChatGPT has like this very kind of consistent style where I can kind of tell that was probably generated with ChatGPT. These all have that ChatGPT image model look to them. So if we head back over to ChatGPT here, let's create a new chat, and under tools, let's just do create an image. You don't actually have to select that. If you tell it to create an image, it will without selecting it. But just for good measure, we'll go ahead and leave that turned on, and we'll say generate an image of a 3-piece pop punk band from the early 2000s. And here's the image that it generated of this 3-piece pop punk band, which isn't bad. It got a guitar player, a bass player, and a drummer all in the shot. And if we want to create like consistent characters and make more images, we can always use this image as our reference image. So if we look over at their Instagram page here, they did this image of them all in orange life jackets holding paddles. You can tell it's definitely AI because look at the sort of inconsistency in the life jackets. These guys have 3 straps. These guys have 2 straps. These guys are all holding different styles of paddles with like different knobs at the top. There's no real consistency across this image, which is a dead giveaway that it's AI. I mean, they obviously look AI as well, but so much inconsistency there. Let's go ahead and try to create a similar image. Let's try a prompt like put these 3 men in orange life jackets standing on a beach and holding canoe paddles. They don't need to be holding instruments, just show them on the beach ready to go canoeing. Let's see if we can get the same looking people just in different outfits. And we get pretty similar looking dudes wearing these orange life vests and holding canoe paddles, just like we got with our Velvet Sundown. Today's video is brought to you by Future Tools. If you haven't checked out Future Tools, it's my personal website where I curate all of the coolest AI tools that I come across every single day, and I share all of the latest AI news. This is updated daily, so you're going to want to check it out. But more importantly, the thing I think you're really going to dig is our free AI newsletter. If you head over to futuretools.io and you click on join the free newsletter, twice a week I'll share just the coolest AI tools I've come across and just the most important AI news that I think you need to know about. They are a really in-depth, amazing newsletters that I really think you're going to get a lot of value out of. We break down all of the news in the world of AI for the week, as well as share the coolest tools that we've been playing with internally at our company. And we remind you about all of the latest AI YouTube videos that we're putting out as well. You're definitely going to want to check it out and be subscribed to this newsletter to make sure you are tapped in with all of the latest in the AI world. Once again, you can learn more all over at futuretools.io. And again, it's completely free. So check it out if you haven't already. Now, let's get back to the video. So that's most likely how they created the music. This is most likely how they created the extra images of the band for their Instagram account and their Spotify account. I'm not going to get into how to create an Instagram account and post images on the Instagram account. You probably know how to do that already, and there's probably plenty of YouTube videos out there if you don't. However, if you want to get this music on Spotify, it's actually a fairly straightforward process as well. There's actually a website over at artist.spotify.com/get started that walks you through the whole process. Submitting music is actually quite different than submitting a podcast or an audiobook. You actually have to go through a music distributor who submits the music on your behalf and then collects the royalties on your behalf and then pays you out. As far as I can tell, there's no direct way for people to just submit their own music to Spotify. However, it doesn't seem very difficult to get a distributor. One of the most popular ones is this one called DistroKid. You can find it at distrokid.com/Spotify, and they have a few plans. One as low as $25 a year, one as high as $90 a year, giving you different levels of analytics and things like that. I went ahead and signed up for the $25 a year plan, and let's go ahead and see how difficult this is. In our back end here, we have two options to master a track or upload music. Let's go ahead and upload music, and then we get some questions about where we want this to be uploaded. Most of these I've never even heard of, and let's go ahead and just leave the defaults. Let's do number of songs, 2 songs. Have they been previously released? No. Upgrade to Ultimate? No. And it's asking for an artist band name, something I haven't figured out yet. Let's go ahead and get ChatGPT's opinion. I'll give a prompt. Give me a short, simple band name for a pop punk band. It should be unique and short and has never been used before. It's going to give me a few ideas. Snub, Rocket, Vermin, Zinc, Grudge, Nork, Brat, Yon, Spazzy, and Wex. Okay, let's do Zinc. Why not? Okay, so it's telling me there's already band names called Zinc. So let's try one of these other ones. Nork. It says there's 2 bands called Nork, but also it gives me the option for this will be my first Nork release. So apparently I can use this name anyway. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'll select that same option for all of the other services. All right, primary genre. Let's see what they got. I'll just put it under punk. Secondary genre, I guess I'll use pop, since it's pop punk. All right, we need an album cover. So for our album cover, let's go ahead and grab this image here. And this will be our album cover. Let's see, what is our first album title? Let's just make the album title the same as like one of our singles. Let's use Fading Fire. That's kind of a cool album title anyway. So album title, Fading Fire. Track song title 1, let's do Fading Fire. And then it asks us to upload our audio file. So we'll grab the WAV file we got earlier, fadingfire.wave. Now, one thing it's asking for is the songwriter's real names, and I'm not quite sure what to put here. I guess we can just sort of make up a name like Artie, and then a last name Intelligence. So his name's Artie Intelligence. I don't believe there was explicit lyrics. Let me double check the lyrics over here. No explicit lyrics on Fading Fire, and no explicit lyrics on Growing Pains. This song contains lyrics. And all right, so now we're moving on to track 2. Our track 2 was called Growing Pains. We'll go ahead and upload our WAV file for Growing Pains here. And then songwriter, once again, Artie Intelligence. Everything else looks good. And here's sort of a preview of what our Spotify account will look like with our 2 tracks, Fading Fire by Nork and Growing Pains by Nork. And let's go ahead and click continue. And it's uploading everything for us. Now it's analyzing the audio for us. Looks like you can pay extra to enhance, but I'm just going to use the original. So let's go ahead and continue here. And it says, hooray, your music's on its way. We're processing your album and uploading it to the streaming platforms. Now, when will it be released? It does say give streaming services up to a week to publish a new album. So hopefully our songs are online soon. So as a super quick breakdown of what we did to match what the Velvet Sundown has accomplished was we used ChatGPT to create a band style description. We used ChatGPT to create band images. We used ChatGPT to help us come up with our band name. And then we went over to Suno. We used the description that we created to generate music in that style. Once we got a song that we liked that style, we created a persona on it so that we can recreate that same style with the same kind of singer and instrumentals, etc. And then we generated more songs with that style. We then took our songs, went to distrokid.com, went through their submission process to submit them to Spotify for us. And then for any sort of social media like Instagram, we would just use ChatGPT in that same way to create more images of these same people. I was also able to create these same guys crossing the street like that famous Beatles cover, just like they did here. And that's pretty much the whole process. Now, the way the marketing works is their albums started getting recommended by similar music. So we would listen to music that was similar to the Velvet Sundown over on Spotify, and then Spotify would start recommending the Velvet Sundown to them because it was a similar genre of music, and they just started getting picked up more and more and getting played in like Spotify radio stations and things like that until the next thing we know, they've got over 500,000 downloads. Now they're even approaching 1 million downloads on Spotify, all with this AI generated band. Almost all of it could be done with AI, as we just showed in this video. Now, this is really interesting. It's also, in my opinion, a little bit scary. We're going to start to see a lot more sort of like AI slop music on Spotify, which isn't necessarily a world I'm looking forward to, and kind of the reason I wanted to create this video. If you know how it's done, it's only going to get easier for you to be able to spot this kind of stuff when you come across it. I also have this sort of like tinfoil hat theory. I've been hearing rumors about it. There's probably no truth to it at all, but I'll share it anyway. There's rumors going around right now that Spotify is actually creating a lot of this AI generated music and putting it on Spotify and getting it recommended so that more people will listen to AI generated music, with the intention being maybe eventually cutting out the middleman of actual musicians. Because if Spotify can generate music with AI, put it in front of people, actually get listens, well, Spotify doesn't have to pay royalties to those people because, well, Spotify generated it in the first place. Do I think that's actually happening yet? No. Do I think that's in the realm of possibilities in the future? Absolutely. These companies are trying to maximize shareholder value, and if they can figure out how to pay less revenue to creators, they're probably going to do things that allow them to give less revenue to creators. Again, not saying that's happening now, but this technology definitely makes that a lot more feasible. But it's really fascinating to see. We're entering this world where more and more of this music is being AI generated, and over 800,000 people have downloaded and listened to this music. I'm assuming not even caring that it's AI. If this song's a banger and you love the song, are you really gonna care if it was generated by AI? I feel like a lot of people, before they know it's generated by AI, will probably like the song, and as soon as they learn it's generated by AI, will probably sort of avoid that kind of music. But those moments before you realized it was AI, do you think people really care as long as they really like the song? And as new generations come up that are more AI native, are they gonna care if their music was generated by AI? And what does that mean for artists? I don't know. It's this whole weird gray area rabbit hole that we're entering in, and it's going to be a weird world. I don't even know how else to describe it. Anyway, that's what I got for you. I'm done rambling. I thought it would be really fun to talk about what was probably the biggest news story on a very slow week. It's 4th of July week here in the US, and there's been almost no news. OpenAI actually closed down for this week to give their workers a break. So there's very, very light news. So instead of breaking down all of the news this week, I figured I would break down this one story and show how it was done. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about how this AI music is being made and where this all might be heading. And again, I really, really appreciate you hanging out with me, nerding out with me, and spending your time with me today, learning more about AI. Really, really appreciate you. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for nerding out with me today. If you like videos like this, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. I'll make sure more videos like this show up in your YouTube feed. And if you haven't already, check out futuretools.io, where I share all the coolest AI tools and all the latest AI news. And there's an awesome free newsletter. Thanks again. Really appreciate you. See you in the next one.